so now that we've rolled it, taking the lid off again, should be pretty stable. Done a lot of rolling. It's a cloth. And just double checking by rolling my finger around, making sure the fibers aren't coming up loosely, and acknowledging that the curly locks are going to be poofy because that's going to give me texture, and that was my design decision. All right, so now we're going to rinse. So you want to be gentle and just gently peel that cloth off the plastic. Gently. Isn't that amazing? From loose hairs to a fabric. Now we're taking the bucket that we have to rinse and just put that piece gently in there and swish it around to get the soap out. And we're just again, not being too rough with it, just gently swishing it about so we can get the soap out. And then squeezing it gently. And if you remember from the first briefing, the next thing we're going to do is fulling. So we want to get the hairs puffed up again with air. And this is one of my favorite parts. Oh, look at this. Again, isn't that amazing? Fabric from loose hairs is always a miracle when I see it. So this is the fulling process, and I love it because it's so cathartic, and we can just let it all out. Anything that's bugging you, just let the fibers of the wool transmute it into beauty and love. Alrighty. Now it's still damp, and as it dries, the silk will become even shinier. And you can do a couple of things. You can press it with your hand. You can press it, just with your hand. And you can see during the fulling process that there's some little ridges. That helps you to know that it's felted well. And if you wanted to iron it, you can. You have, of course, being very careful to set the iron on the setting, like there's silk in here. So you would want it on a silk setting. And I do have a steamer here, so I'm going to show you that people don't believe me when I tell them. So I'm double checking that my setting is on silk. And I'm just going to give it a nice once over. If there isn't any silk in your piece, then you can put it on a wool setting. And there's the finished piece. Ta-da! And you can see how even the curly locks adhered very well. They're not going anywhere, although I still have some texture. And the silk inlay, both in the raw fibers as well as that silk hanky and the wool yarn shown up nicely. And then, technically these are reversible. So as you're designing in the future, you can either make the design face first or flip it over and then design it on the second side. But I wanted you to see the nuance between 2 layers of white versus white with the gray, so that you could see how there is some bleeding of the colors in the translucence of the migration of the fibers. And here's your finished piece. I can't wait to see yours.